Hello, welcome to Awakening with Soulspirational. I'm Tish, and today I want to talk about Reiki. Bunch of different things, whether maybe some of what I touch on here will be for those who have recently taken a class, maybe considering a class, or maybe even going to see a Reiki practitioner. So when we are talking about Reiki, for those of you that are unaware, it's universal life force energy. One way we could look at it, a nice little easy way to encapsulate it, is a Japanese healing art. Reiki is so much more. For me, Reiki was about opening up spiritual doors. So if you are somebody that has been on or considering walking that spiritual journey, Reiki for some of us can be so enlightening, so rewarding, empowering. And again, it's like, at least for me, all these doors opened after I started taking Reiki. I have watched it also for many of my students. Now, when we think about taking a Reiki class, there's a whole host of different reasons of why one may take it. Maybe you're somebody who is an LMT, a licensed massage therapist, and you want to open up to Reiki so the energy is just flowing during session. For some others, it may be that I'm looking for a way to heal myself and to help others on their healing journey. So, which is beautiful. It's also, again, for those on their spiritual journey, they've heard of Reiki, they're intrigued by it, so maybe they want to learn more. And then, those that they just want to experience it as the recipient, as a client. So I don't want to get too woo-woo here. Reiki is energy work. So if you're somebody who is skeptical, who may be afraid of it on some level, it's energy. So if you recognize the fact that all of us are made of energy, we are simply working with the energy body. Reiki is becoming more and more common, more and more known. In fact, one of my clients came to me because she had been in Cleveland Clinic Hospital for a stint. While she was there, I guess there was some kind of a list of different phone numbers that she could call while she was there. And one was a Reiki practitioner, a volunteer, that came up and gave her a few minutes of Reiki, and she was surprised at how well she felt. Just that sense of calm, I think she said, well-being. That got her, once she was out of the hospital, to look for a Reiki practitioner. Reiki, it's energy work, but it's going to work for you at the moment of where you are at that particular moment in life, while you're on the table. Most practitioners will administer Reiki with somebody laying on, it's actually a massage table. But unlike massage, you are completely and totally clothed. We do ask for you to take your shoes off, that kind of thing, but otherwise. And it's just working with a person's energy body. Now, for some, once they learn Reiki, they may find that their psychic senses begin to open up to them. And for those who just hear the word psychic and they kind of push back or push away, I am a person who believes that all of us were gifted with these things. And I think the majority of us can look back to our youth where we saw or heard or experienced something that was otherworldly and it scared us. And maybe a parent or somebody else told us, oh, you really didn't see that or experience that. It may have been too frightening for us, where we just kind of closed it down because we didn't know what we were experiencing. We didn't know how to process it as children. And therefore, we just kind of closed ourselves off to it. So if you've had one of these otherworldly experiences, then to me, that's all part of the psychic senses. Again, whether you saw something, whether you knew something was going to happen, you heard something that led you somewhere or got you to take a different path to work, whatever it may have been. So then while we are working with Reiki, teachers matter. Let me say that too, because I really like to emphasize to my students that it isn't us who is determining the outcome of the session. That is done by the client and their connection to God or the universe, however they perceive it to be. So while I am in the middle of a Reiki session, or as I begin a session, it's always in the highest and greatest good of the person that's on the table. It's always in the highest and greatest good first and foremost for my client, and then all of us seen and unseen. I recognize that I'm not God, and therefore I cannot heal a person on the table. And with the caveat here, the asterisk that as a Reiki practitioner, I do not claim to cure, treat, prevent, diagnose, cure any disease, illness, or ailment. That said, there are some within the energy work community and the spiritual community that look upon themselves as healers. We can work to heal thyself, and through God or the universe, where we can give of our time and be a guide for those that are on their own healing and spiritual journey. But ultimately, it's upon each person individually what they are ready to heal. I cannot make somebody go to a place that they aren't ready to go to. I can let somebody know what I'm seeing or feeling and asking if they're comfortable to go there. Ultimately, it's up to them, because if they aren't ready, then we pull back, we readjust. And I tend to be more hands-on with my clients because I believe it's important for them to be part of their healing. So if I can walk them through different visualizations that can help guide them to a different perspective, sometimes just that little shift can really change a trajectory that we're on. It's about them. The client on the table, my entire focus is about them. I allow myself to be led wherever it is I am to go. I ask questions. I have them participate in whatever visualizations, whatever breathing techniques, whatever it is that we may be using, so they can feel empowered by their experience. Because when we feel empowered, it's like we want more of that. And when we can shift a perspective and we can feel on different levels healing that is beginning, that has begun, or maybe you've already been for a session and now you're expanding, you're evolving from your last session. It's just this beautiful process of healing. And by the way, it's great too if you're seeing a counselor, some mental health provider. Reiki works wonderful. It's wonderful to incorporate that as part of your talk therapy, because as they're working with you, we'll work with you. Check with your practitioner. I work with people on the spiritual level, so we go to different places in connection with what they've been doing with talk therapy, if any of that made sense. So, okay. So for the student, for the person who's interested in taking a Reiki class, the right teacher matters. And you're going to find that there are so many different styles of Reiki or energy work. Even within a particular modality, you're going to find different teachers teach differently. And this is because we're taught differently. Some of us may bring in different aspects of energy work. So you'll find classes an hour and a half, 2 hours long for a Reiki 1 certification class. And then you'll find some that mine is an all-day class. Some are a couple days long, where you're learning more aspects of energy work. There are some that the entire session is quiet and hands-on. There are some where it's pretty quiet and it's hands-off. It may be a combination of both. Usually there's light music in the background. It's really nice. We tend to find the teacher that we are looking for. So if I'm ready to just get my feet wet, maybe I just want to start with a 2 or 3 hour class. But if I have been on my journey, it may be that I want an all-day class or a 2-day class because I'm really wanting that knowledge, that experience. And I have had some, however, that have taken a couple of 3-4 hour class, and then they've come to me to take Reiki 1 with me because they feel as though that they were missing something in the way that they were taught. And the truth is, I don't think we miss anything anytime that we're trained. They may get more information of different aspects through my class, a 6-7 hour class as opposed to a 2 or 3 hour class. There's more information, but that doesn't mean that they didn't take that shorter class for a reason. So if you are one of those where you've taken a couple different Reiki 1 classes, that's wonderful. It's great if we can just do the first one, we're set, we go on to level 2 if we choose. But if it's the case where you feel like you're still missing something from that first one, seek out a teacher. Go into another class. Show up for Reiki shares. Allow yourself to be out there because I know there's some people that, and not everybody, sometimes people don't go to Reiki shares because of life. We have kids, we're busy, we're doing. There are some that hold back from Reiki shares because, especially if they just received a level 1 attunement, they may feel as though, well, there are going to be other people there, levels 2 or the teacher level, and I'm not as good as them, so I don't want to go. I don't want to feel less than. I'm going to ask for you, if you are a level 1 or even a 2 practitioner, you've been holding back, give it a try. Find a local Reiki share. You can go on Meetup. They will often, because that's where most people find me, is through Meetup. And then you can go through the list of that particular a spiritual group to find out when they're having Reiki shares. If you go to one and you feel as though it's cliquish, go try another one. Don't let the egos of others prevent you from expanding, from exploring, from evolving. Here, we don't go around the room and talk about which level each person is. That kind of feels egoic, of ego to me. Because we are all brothers and sisters here. We are all learning. I have been working with energy for a long time, teaching Reiki, having clients. In every Reiki share, I'm learning something new. Because every body that comes in for a Reiki share, even if they're the same people that I've just seen for the last 5 or 10 Reiki shares, every body is different. And every time they come in for a Reiki share, they're at a different place in life, or they are registering with a different vibration of energy that particular night. Each night also, there may be something ready for them to come up during a Reiki share that maybe 5 Reiki shares ago they just weren't ready to. So there's always a chance for growth, to learn new tips or techniques. And then when you have people that were taught from different teachers, then you can kind of see how other people were taught. It can open up your mind, expand your knowledge. With me, the more that you know about energy, the more that you practice it, the better that it is for everybody. The more books that you read on Reiki without overwhelming yourself. Reading the different authors, their take on Reiki, listening to other people. What is their experience? What was it like for them as the client? Listen to other practitioners. What has their journey been like? This isn't a time to tell people don't read other books on Reiki because it's going to skew the way that you see things. And I know some teachers are of that thought. For me, the more you know, the more beautiful it is. You can bring more elements into what it is that you're doing during a session, where it becomes a richer and a more beneficial experience for both the practitioner, but for the client. Okay, so if you feel as though you want to just start off with a little bit and just do a 2-hour class or a 4-hour class, that's something for you to decide. So one of the ways you can look at it, if it's a monetary thing, one of the things you can do is look at what is the cost of the class, what's included in class, materials, manuals, that kind of thing. And then you can divide that with how many hours you're going to be in class for. And then I'll tell you how much, this is my analytical mind working here, how much per hour that you're paying to learn that Reiki 1 certification course. And see what feels right for you then. Because sometimes, and oftentimes, we get what we pay for. Okay, so, and sometimes there is value, and there are other times where it's priceless, because what you learn from whatever it may be can sometimes just change somebody's trajectory. It can change their life, which to me means it's priceless. Okay, so we want to think about, do we want a class that is hands-on? So it's my understanding that practical Reiki, they don't use symbols, it's hands-on, it's different hand placements. They may even just allow the Reiki to flow. Again, there's so many different modalities out there. And you can research them and you'll know what resonates with you. Listen to your soul. Go with what feels right. And if you do take a smaller class, you may find later that you want to take that longer class to get more knowledge, to understand maybe the chakra system that wasn't taught in your level 1 class. Recently, and this is actually pretty common too, many teachers don't teach any symbols, any Reiki symbols in level 1. They wait until level 2 to teach them. I teach a symbol in level 1. One, it gives the student an idea, first and foremost, of why we work with symbols. What is the importance of symbols? They start learning that there is intention, therefore energy, behind a symbol. And then that way, by the time the Reiki 1 practitioner, if they choose to go on to level 2 and learn additional symbols, they already have a good understanding of why we use symbols, why it's important. Okay, so again, that's up to you to decide. You'll have to look around, see who teaches what. And we are in this society too where we want everything right here, right now. My classes are long. We start at 10 o'clock. The class time typically is until 5:30, and I tend to have smaller classes, but we could go till 6:30. It depends on how many questions. It depends on how quickly somebody is picking up on the process, because whereas some teachers may be showing you where to lay your hands, in my classes, I teach you how to protect yourself, how to feel into the chakra system, which is a brilliant way to really hone your psychic abilities. Because when you are feeling into somebody's chakra, whichever one it may be, and then you start seeing or healing or feeling things, and then you start feeling into the backside of that chakra, where some will still teach the chakras, but it tends to be more on the top. When we learn about the backside and we go deeper, there's just that much more information that we get to have at our fingertips. So when this information is coming to mind and it correlates with your client, then you know there's something going on there. And then you can work and move forward from that process. So it's to me, I couldn't imagine teaching Reiki without the basic knowledge of working through the 7 main chakras. And then also on how to scan a body. Because when we're scanning a body, we are right off of the physical body. And we're honing in to see if maybe I'm picking up some elbow pain or wrist pain or knee pain or whatever it may be. So we are picking up intuitively what's going on with the person's energy body, so we can go back and address that by means of Reiki. So if you were considering taking a Reiki class, the right teacher matters. Do research, because there are plenty out there that are, whether it's 2 hours, 4 hours, 6 hours, 8 hours, 2 days, whatever it may be, you're going to find certain teachers that fit within each of those groups. So see what feels right for you. As you were researching what this particular teacher is teaching, what this particular teacher is teaching, what feels good for you? If you feel like you're kind of lighting up by reading one of them, then pursue it. Reach out to the teacher. I would like to think that all Reiki teachers are open and willing to having at least a phone conversation. Most today we work via email or text messaging first, but I always let all of those that are considering taking Reiki class, if you want to talk about it on the phone or if you want to meet at the studio, let me know, because you may find that what is written up in a description may sound really good for you, but meeting with a teacher, you may find that your energies are just not meshing for whatever reason. It doesn't mean that you can't still learn from that class, but it's something to consider of maybe there's somebody else that I should be looking for first. And sometimes whatever that resistance is, it may even present itself. It may very well be part of your journey. So I'm going to suggest not to dismiss it outright, but kind of take that into the process while you're considering and researching different Reiki teachers. And then that way you can better avoid having to double up on your Reiki 1 classes. But again, even if you do, I'm going to ask for you again, don't look at it as though it was a waste of time, it was a waste of money. No, you got what you're supposed to get. And now you're going to take it again with somebody else, and you're going to learn that much more. And again, maybe you needed just that little bit to give you the foundation before you get over here. But if you do take an all-day intensive like mine or somebody else's, yeah, it's intensive. And I put that in the title because it's intensive. But when you breathe, you realize that you just learned all of this stuff. There is no time frame. There is nobody pressuring you that you have to master this by a certain amount of time or that element or that element. And I explain to my students that you can just work on chakras for a while. Feel into them. Yourself, your family members and friends, those who are willing and open to allow you to do so. Work on what is it like to scan your body and other people's body. Again, those that are open and willing, because we never want to step over somebody's boundary and scan them or try to read them in some way without their permission, because it just isn't ethical. Or Reiki itself, where you just want to feel as, okay, I'm sensing a blockage here. What is it that I want to do? I want to just send Reiki there? Do I want to scoop it and release and fill? So you can take these different elements, and now I'm going to double back to Reiki shares. That is what makes Reiki shares so wonderful too, because even if there's only 4 people in the group, that means you are going to work on 3 different bodies. Each body, so Bill, Susie, and Fred. Each body is different. Their energy is going to be different. So you can see one person after the other, how it shifts per person. So then if you're choosing to be a Reiki practitioner as a profession where it's a supplemental income, or you want to do it as volunteer work, that it's something that you want to get into professionally, you're getting a better understanding during Reiki Share. You're getting that experience to recognize just how different people are. So obviously I'm an advocate for Reiki. Be it with me or taking a class with somebody else, regardless. It's about opening yourself up and allowing the spiritual doors to open for you. Open up to whatever possibilities that await you from stepping through and over the Reiki door or the Reiki threshold. Okay. So I guess that was more about teaching Reiki and whether or not you want to learn it. Reiki flows through you, and I don't have much time left here, but when we can feel the energy flowing as a client, as the recipient, it's beautiful. Again, when we can shift perspective and gain a better understanding of what direction we're going and why, or what am I holding on to, what am I ready to release. Healing starts with you individually. So as a Reiki practitioner, we should be using Reiki for our own, I just said should. Hopefully Reiki practitioners are using Reiki first and foremost for themselves. And as we learn the healing process, then we lovingly share it with others. It's a beautiful thing. Okay, if you have any questions, please feel free to contact me. Otherwise, there's so much information. I have some information on my website about Reiki. If you Google Reiki, you're going to get more pages than you know what to do with that are going to come up. Otherwise, if you have any questions, please feel free to contact me. Website, soulspirational.com. My email address is info@soulspirational.com. Thank you for watching today's episode. Until next time, thank you, be well, and namaste.